I found the phone wedged inside her yoga mat carrier, one of those cheap prepaid flip phones you see at gas stations, the kind nobody uses unless they're hiding something. My hands were still damp from loading the washing machine when I pulled it out, confused at first. Ashley didn't do flip phones. She had the latest iPhone, the one she'd insisted we needed to budget for last Christmas. So what was this doing rolled up in her gym bag? I flipped it open. 3% battery. The screen showed 47 text messages, all from a contact saved simply as J. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Tell him you have that conference. Last night was incredible. You're all I think about. Does he suspect anything? The phone felt like it was burning in my palm. My wife of 9 years, Ashley Brennan. Mother to our 7-year-old daughter Emma and 5-year-old son Tyler. The woman who'd cried at our wedding, promising forever. I scrolled further back. The messages went on for months. June, May, April. I stopped at March. 5 months of this. 5 months of lies while I'd been working 60-hour weeks at the engineering firm, trying to make partners so we could afford that house in the better school district she kept talking about. Meeting at the Riverside Inn, room 247, noon. That was from 2 days ago, Tuesday. The day she'd told me she had a dentist appointment. My legs felt weak. I sat down on the laundry room floor, our dirty clothes spinning in the washer beside me, and kept reading. The messages were explicit enough to leave no doubt, but vague enough that she'd probably practiced being careful. No names, no specific details, just enough to coordinate their meetings. Then I found the photos. Not explicit ones. Ashley was smarter than that. But pictures of them together. A restaurant I didn't recognize. His arm around her shoulder. Her laughing, wearing the blue dress I'd complimented her on last month, the one she'd said she wore to her book club meeting. The man was younger than me, mid-30s maybe, to my 42. Athletic build. The kind of guy who probably had time for the gym every day because he wasn't busy providing for a family. I heard the garage door opening. Ashley was home. I had maybe 30 seconds before she walked through the door. My mind raced. Confront her now? Wait. Gather more evidence. Some instinct I didn't know I had kicked in. I powered off the phone, slipped it into my pocket, and stood up. My heart was hammering so hard I could feel it in my throat. The door from the garage opened. Ashley walked in. Designer workout clothes, hair in a perfect ponytail, not a drop of sweat on her. She'd supposedly been at hot yoga for the past 2 hours. "Hey, babe," she said, setting her keys on the counter. "What's for dinner?" I stared at her. This woman I'd built a life with. We'd met in college, dated for 3 years before I proposed. She'd been my best friend. The person I told everything to. We'd survived Tyler's colic as a baby, Emma's broken arm, my father's death, her mother's cancer scare. Or at least I thought we'd survived them together. "Justin." She was looking at me now, concern crossing her face. "You okay? You look pale." "Fine," I managed. "Just tired, long day." She walked over and kissed my cheek, the same casual kiss she'd given me every day for years. It felt like betrayal in physical form. "Well, I'm going to shower," she said. "Maybe we can order pizza. I'm exhausted from class." I watched her walk upstairs, her gym bag slung over her shoulder, the same bag I'd just searched. She had no idea I'd found it. No idea her carefully constructed lie was unraveling. As soon as I heard the shower running, I pulled out my own phone. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely type. I needed help. But who? My brother lived 3 states away. My best friend Derek worked with Ashley's cousin. Too risky. Then I remembered Jake Thornton, a guy I'd gone to high school with who'd become a private investigator. We weren't close, but we'd reconnected on social media a few years back. I found his number and sent a text. "Need to talk. Urgent. Can you call me?" The response came in less than a minute. Give me 10. I went outside to the back deck, the burner phone heavy in my pocket. Our yard looked perfect. Ashley had insisted on the landscaping service, another expense I'd worked overtime to cover. The swing set I'd assembled last summer sat in the corner. Emma's bike with training wheels leaned against the fence. Everything looked normal. Everything looked like the life I thought I had. My phone buzzed. Jake. Talk to me, he said without preamble. I think my wife is having an affair. The words felt foreign coming out of my mouth. I found a burner phone, messages going back months. Where's the phone now? In my pocket. Good. Don't let her know you found it. Can you forward me photos of everything? Yes. Do it now, then put the phone back exactly where you found it. Does she know you were near her stuff? I thought about it. No, I was doing laundry. She just got home. Perfect. Put it back. Act normal. I need you to not tip her off, Justin. If she realizes you know, she'll get careful, delete evidence, maybe even flip the script and accuse you of something. What do I do? You document everything, and you let me help you figure out who this guy is. Then we plan your next move carefully. Very carefully. You're in Virginia, right? Yes? Okay. Virginia is a no-fault state for divorce, but adultery is still one of the fault-based grounds. If we can prove it, it affects things. How much do you want to know? I looked back at the house. Through the window, I could see into our kitchen, the family photos on the wall, the kids' artwork on the fridge. Everything, I said. I want to know everything. The next morning, I woke up before my alarm. 5:15. Ashley was still asleep beside me, her breathing steady and even. I'd barely slept, maybe 2 hours total, my mind running through scenarios, possibilities, contingencies. I got up, showered, dressed, went through my normal routine, made coffee, checked my work email, everything the same as always. Except I couldn't stop thinking about that phone hidden in her yoga mat carrier. At breakfast, Emma wanted to tell me about a project at school, something about the solar system. I nodded, asked questions, poured her more orange juice. Tyler spilled milk on his shirt and Ashley went upstairs to get him a clean one. I watched her go, wondering if she'd checked the phone, wondering if there were new messages from Jay waiting. Daddy, you're not listening, Emma said. I am, sweetie. You're doing Jupiter, right? Saturn. She gave me that look, the one that said I was being dense. Because of the rings. Right, Saturn. That's going to be great. Ashley came back down with Tyler in a dinosaur shirt. She kissed the top of my head as she passed. You okay? You look tired. Didn't sleep great, I said. Big presentation next week. You work too hard, she poured herself coffee. Maybe you should take a day off. The irony wasn't lost on me. I left for work at 7:30. Sat in my car in the driveway for a minute, watching the house. Our house. The one we'd bought 3 years ago. The one with the good school district and the big backyard and the mortgage that would take 30 years to pay off. My phone buzzed. Text from Jake. Call me when you can talk. I waited until I got to the office, until I was behind my closed door with my first meeting still an hour away. Got the equipment, Jake said when he picked up. Can you get into your house alone today? She's got hot yoga at 10. Real hot yoga, I mean. It's on the calendar. How long? Hour-long class, plus she usually stays after to chat. Call it 90 minutes minimum. That'll work. I need you to let me in. We'll put cameras in the bedroom, living room, and one in the garage. Small, hidden, audio, and video. Also going to clone that burner phone. There's a device that'll copy everything on it without leaving any trace. My stomach turned. You want me to bug my own house? I want you to document what's happening in your house. Virginia's a one-party consent state for recording, but since you own the property, you're covered. Just don't put anything in the bathroom. That's where the law gets murky. What if she finds them? She won't. I've been doing this 15 years. Trust me. That word again. Trust. Okay, I said. I'll text you when I'm there. I left work at 9:30, told my assistant I had a doctor's appointment, drove home with my hands tight on the wheel. Ashley's car was gone when I pulled in, already at the gym. Jake arrived 10 minutes later in an unmarked van. He looked different than I remembered from high school. Harder. He carried 2 equipment cases and didn't waste time on small talk. Show me the bedroom first. I led him upstairs, feeling like a stranger in my own house. He worked fast, installing a tiny camera in the smoke detector, another in the bookshelf behind a row of books Ashley never read. He showed me how to access the feed from my phone, from anywhere. You're not going to want to watch this, he said, but you need to. Document everything. Dates, times, screenshot it, save it to a cloud account she doesn't know about. We moved to the living room. Another camera went into the cable box, one in the corner of a picture frame. In the garage, he installed one above the door, angled to catch both parking spaces and the entrance to the house. Now the phone, he said. I got the yoga mat carrier from the laundry room. My hands were shaking again. Jake pulled out a device that looked like a small tablet, connected the burner phone with a cable. This'll take about 5 minutes. It copies everything: texts, call logs, photos, even deleted stuff if it's still in the memory. I watched the progress bar creep across the screen. 83%. 90. 95. Does she have any other hiding spots you know about? Jake asked. I don't know. I never looked before. Start looking. Women who cheat usually have a pattern. Separate email account, second phone, hidden social media. Check her car when you get a chance. Glove box, under the seats, trunk. The device beeped. Done. Jake disconnected everything, put the burner phone back exactly how I'd found it. You're all set. The cameras are motion activated and will upload to secure cloud storage. You'll get alerts on your phone when they detect activity. What do I do now? You go to work. You act normal. You document everything. And when we have enough, you take it to a lawyer. He packed up his equipment. One more thing. I'm going to start following her. Not every day, but enough to establish a pattern. I'll bill you weekly. How much are we talking? $1,500 a week plus expenses? Could be more if this drags out. I thought about our savings account. The one for the new house. Do it. After Jake left, I stood in the garage for a minute, looking at the camera hidden in plain sight. Then I put the yoga mat carrier back in the laundry room, went upstairs, checked that everything looked normal. Ashley's phone was charging on her nightstand. Her real phone, the iPhone with the rose gold case. I picked it up. Locked, of course. I tried her birthday. Wrong. Tried Emma's birthday. Wrong. Tyler's birthday. It unlocked. My heart hammered as I opened her messages. Nothing unusual. Texts from her sister, her mom, friends from book club. I checked her email. Same thing. Normal. Then I opened her photos. Started scrolling back. Pictures of the kids, family dinners, her coffee from this morning. Further back. A selfie from Tuesday, the day she'd supposedly been at book club. She was wearing the blue dress from the photo on the burner phone. I kept scrolling. Found another photo from last month. Ashley and 3 other women at a restaurant. The caption, Book Club Girls Night. Except I'd seen the metadata on one of the burner phone photos. Same night, different restaurant, different dress. I took screenshots of everything, texted them to myself, then deleted the texts from her phone. Put it back exactly where I'd found it. My phone buzzed. Alert from the garage camera. Ashley's car pulling in. I went downstairs, got my keys, met her as she was coming through the door. Hey, I said. Forgot my laptop. Heading back to the office. She was flushed, hair damp from an actual shower this time. Oh, okay. You'll be home for dinner? Should be. 6:30. She kissed me. I kissed her back, tasted mint on her breath. "Love you," she said. "Love you too." I got in my car, backed out of the driveway, made it 3 blocks before I had to pull over. My hands were shaking so hard I couldn't hold the wheel. I sat there for 10 minutes, breathing, trying to calm down. Then I drove to a coffee shop across town, ordered something I didn't drink, and opened my phone. The camera feeds were live. I could see Ashley in the kitchen, making herself lunch, moving through our house like everything was normal, like she hadn't just lied to my face for the 1,000th time. I opened a new email account, one she'd never know about. Started forwarding all the screenshots, all the evidence. Created a folder, labeled it with just a date. Then I called my office, told them I'd be working from home the rest of the day. Opened my laptop, started a document. Timeline of evidence, I typed at the top, and I started writing everything down. The scale readings bothered me more than they should have. I'd discovered them 3 days after Jake installed the cameras, while reviewing the data synced from our household devices. Ashley had a premium smart scale in our bathroom, one of those things she'd insisted on during her New Year's fitness kick 2 years ago. It tracked weight, body fat percentage, muscle mass, the whole deal. Synced automatically to her phone and our shared home app. I'd never paid attention to it before. Why would I? But now I was looking at everything differently. The scale created user profiles automatically based on weight patterns. There was Ashley's profile, tracking her daily weigh-ins at 127 pounds, give or take a pound depending on the day. There was mine at 183, and there was a third profile, labeled Guest. Guest appeared irregularly. March 14th, March 28th, April 11th, April 25th. The pattern continued through May and into June, roughly every 2 weeks. Always on weekdays. Always in the morning, between 6:47 and 7:23 a.m. The weight registered at 176 pounds. Adult male, based on the body composition metrics. I sat at my desk in the spare bedroom we'd converted into a home office, laptop open, staring at the data export. Ashley was downstairs making breakfast. I could hear her humming along to some pop song on the kitchen speaker, the same way she did every Saturday morning. My hands felt cold. I cross-referenced the dates with my work calendar. March 14th. I'd left for a job site inspection at 5:30 a.m. Didn't get home until after 7 that night. March 28th. Early morning client meeting in Richmond. Out the door by 5:15. April 11th. Another site visit. Every single date matched a morning when I'd left the house before dawn. I pulled up the burner phone data Jake had cloned. Scrolled back through the messages until I found March 13th, the night before the first guest reading. Tomorrow morning, he's got an early site visit. Perfect. I'll bring coffee. Can't wait to wake up next to you. My stomach turned over. He'd been in my house, in my bed, using my shower, stepping on my wife's scale at 7 a.m. like he belonged there. I thought about Emma and Tyler. Their bedrooms were down the hall from ours. Had they been home? I checked my calendar again. March 14th was a Thursday, school day. They would have been here, sleeping in their rooms while this man... I stood up too fast. The chair rolled backward and hit the wall. "Justin," Ashley called from downstairs. "Breakfast is ready." "Be right down," I managed. I saved the scale data to my evidence folder. Added notes with timestamps and cross-references to the burner phone messages. My hands were shaking again, the way they had when I'd first found that phone in the yoga mat carrier. 15 days ago. It felt like longer. I'd been documenting everything since then. Every discrepancy, every lie, every piece of evidence. The folder on my secure email account had grown to over 200 files. Photos, message logs, location data, credit card statements I'd pulled from our joint account showing charges at the Riverside Inn. $247 per visit. Always the same amount. Always charged to her card on days she claimed to be at book club or hot yoga, or meeting her friend Diana for lunch. Diana. I'd called her 3 days ago, used the excuse that I wanted to plan a surprise for Ashley's birthday next month. Asked if she had any ideas, mentioned maybe we could grab coffee since Ashley had told me they'd been spending so much time together lately. "Oh, I wish I could help," Diana had said. "But honestly, Ashley and I haven't hung out in months. We keep meaning to schedule something, but you know how it is with kids and everything." I'd thanked her and hung up. Added the call notes to my evidence file. The cameras Jake installed had captured footage of Ashley on her laptop, messaging someone while I was at work. She'd delete the browser history afterward. I'd checked. But the camera caught her smiling at the screen, typing quickly. That same expression she used to have when we were dating, and she'd text me during her college classes. I hadn't watched much of the bedroom footage. Couldn't stomach it yet. But I'd seen enough to know that she changed the sheets every time, always on the days I worked late or had early morning site visits. She'd strip the bed, run the laundry, remake everything with fresh linens before I got home. Methodical. Careful. Like she'd done this before, refined the process. Downstairs, Tyler was talking about his t-ball game later that morning. I could hear his excited voice explaining something about batting practice to Ashley. I closed the laptop and went down to join them. "There you are," Ashley said, smiling. She'd made pancakes, Tyler's favorite. I was about to send a search party. Emma was already at the table, syrup bottle in hand, concentrating on creating perfectly even coverage across her stack. Tyler was bouncing in his chair. "Daddy, are you coming to my game?" "Wouldn't miss it, buddy." I sat down, accepted the plate Ashley handed me. "You okay?" she asked. "You look tired." "Just work stuff. That Henderson project is giving me headaches." I used the name deliberately, watched her face. No reaction. Henderson wasn't a real client. I'd made it up 2 days ago to test if she was paying attention to the details of my work life the way she used to. She wasn't. "You work too hard," she said, squeezing my shoulder as she passed. "Maybe we should plan a vacation this summer. Get away for a week, just the four of us." Emma looked up. "Can we go to the beach?" "Maybe," Ashley said. "We'll see." I cut into my pancakes. They tasted like cardboard, but I ate them anyway, made the right sounds of appreciation, asked Tyler about his batting stance. Normal. Everything had to look normal. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out under the table. Text from Jake. "Got something. Can you talk?" I waited until Ashley took the kids upstairs to get Tyler changed into his uniform, then stepped out onto the back deck and called him. "Talk to me," I said. "Ran the photos you sent through facial recognition software. Got a hit on your wife's friend." I'd sent Jake screenshots from Ashley's phone, photos she'd taken but never posted anywhere. There was one from April, the two of them at what looked like a park. His face was partially visible in the background of a selfie she'd taken. "His name is Derek Walsh," Jake continued. 34, works in pharmaceutical sales. Lives in an apartment complex about 15 minutes from your place. Divorced, no kids, clean record, nothing interesting except what? He's been married before. Divorce was finalized 2 years ago. His ex-wife filed on grounds of adultery. I leaned against the deck railing. The morning sun was warm on my face, but I felt cold all over. "He's got a pattern," Jake said. I pulled some background. There were rumors at his last job. Got transferred after an HR complaint about an inappropriate relationship with a married coworker. Nothing formal, but enough smoke to suggest fire. "Send me everything." "Already in your secure email." "Justin, there's something else. I've been monitoring the burner phone data. They're planning to meet Tuesday afternoon. She told him you've got a late client dinner that night." I did have a client dinner Tuesday, had mentioned it to Ashley last week. "The Riverside Inn again?" I asked. "That's what the messages suggest. Room 247, same as always. They've got a standing arrangement with the front desk. He checks in, pays cash, she shows up an hour later. I watched a bird land on our fence, some small brown thing I couldn't identify. Tyler's t-ball equipment was scattered across the yard from yesterday's practice. Emma's bike with the training wheels still on it, even though she'd learned to ride without them months ago but was too scared to let us take them off. I want to be there, I said. Bad idea. I need to see it myself. Jake was quiet for a moment. You sure about that? Photos and video are one thing. Seeing it in person, I'm sure. All right, I'll set it up. But we do this smart, understand? No confrontation, no scene. You observe, we document, you leave. This is about evidence, not... I understand. Good. I'll text you details Monday night. I hung up and stood there, looking at my yard, my house, the life I'd built. Ashley appeared in the kitchen window, helping Tyler tie his cleats. She saw me watching and waved, smiled. I waved back. 4 more days. The morning of the Tuesday meeting, I woke up at my usual time, 5:30. Ashley was still asleep beside me, her breathing slow and even. In a few hours, she'd tell me she was meeting her book club friend for lunch. She'd already mentioned it twice over the weekend, establishing her alibi with the same careful attention to detail she brought to everything else. I went through my morning routine on autopilot. Shower, shave, coffee. The cameras Jake had installed were invisible, tucked into smoke detectors and air vents. I'd stopped noticing them after the first day, but this morning I felt their presence like a weight. At 6:15, my phone buzzed. Jake. Tracker's active. I'll be in position by 11. I'd forgotten about the tracker. Jake had attached a small GPS device to Ashley's car 3 days ago, hidden in the wheel well. Another piece of evidence for the file that kept growing thicker. Good, I typed back. Ashley came downstairs at 7, already dressed in jeans and a cream-colored sweater. Casual, but put together. She kissed my cheek while I stood at the counter with my second cup of coffee. You're still here, she said. I thought you'd be gone by now. Conference call got pushed to 9, I said. It was true. I'd rescheduled it myself yesterday. I'll work from home this morning. Something flickered across her face. Annoyance? Concern? It was gone before I could identify it. Oh, she said. Okay. She poured herself coffee, added cream and sugar. Her phone sat on the counter between us, her real phone. The burner would be in her purse, probably tucked into that interior pocket she thought I didn't know about. What time's your lunch thing? I asked. Noon, she said, without hesitation. At that new place downtown, the one with the patio. With Rebecca, right? Mm-hmm. She took a sip of coffee, scrolling through her phone with her other hand. She's been wanting to try it. Rebecca was real. They actually were friends, went to the same yoga studio. I wondered if Rebecca knew, if she'd helped cover for Ashley before. Or maybe Ashley kept her lies compartmentalized, separate worlds that never touched. Emma wandered in, still in her pajamas, dragging her stuffed rabbit. Tyler followed a minute later, asking about breakfast. I made pancakes while Ashley got the kids ready for school. Normal. Everything normal. At 8:30, I walked them all out to the driveway. Kissed Emma and Tyler goodbye, watched Ashley buckle them into their car seats. She smiled at me before getting in the driver's seat. See you tonight, she said. I'll probably be back around 2. Have fun, I said. I stood in the driveway until her car disappeared around the corner, then went back inside. The house felt different when I was alone in it now. Emptier. I'd spent 9 years building a life in these rooms, and in the past week I'd watched it all become evidence. The couch where we'd watched movies. The kitchen table where we'd eaten 1,000 dinners. The photos on the wall that documented every milestone, every vacation, every moment I'd thought mattered. I opened my laptop at the kitchen table and pulled up the tracking app Jake had given me access to. A small blue dot showed Ashley's location, moving along the familiar route to Emma and Tyler's school. I watched it pause for a few minutes, drop off, then continue north toward her yoga studio. My phone rang at 9:15. Jake. She just parked at the studio, he said. Class runs until 10:30. She'll probably go home to shower and change before heading to the hotel. You'll follow her the whole way? Every mile. I've got the camera ready. You still want me to get photos? I'd thought about this. Photos of her walking into the hotel would be damning enough. Photos of them together, of her kissing him, of them going into that room. That would be irrefutable. Yes, I said. Okay, a pause. You doing all right? I'm fine. You don't have to watch the tracker all day. I'll keep you updated. But I did watch it. I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop open, the blue dot my only focus. At 10:32, it started moving again. South on Riverside, then west on Oak Street. Our street. She was coming home. I closed the laptop and went upstairs to the bedroom. The camera Jake had installed in the smoke detector had a perfect view of the bed, the bathroom door, the closet. I thought about Ashley standing in front of the mirror, choosing what to wear for him. Thought about her in the shower, washing away the yoga sweat, making herself ready. My hands were shaking. I shoved them in my pockets. The garage door opened at 10:50. I heard her footsteps on the stairs, the bedroom door opening. She stopped when she saw me sitting on the edge of the bed. Hey, she said. I thought you'd be in your office. Call ended early. I gestured at my laptop on the nightstand. Figured I'd answer some emails up here. She nodded, set her purse on the dresser. The yoga mat carrier went in the closet. I wondered if the burner phone was still in there or if she'd moved it to her purse. I'm going to shower quick before lunch, she said. Sure. I listened to the water run. Listened to her moving around the bathroom, the familiar sounds of her routine. When she came out 15 minutes later, wrapped in a towel, I was still sitting on the bed. You okay? She asked. You seem quiet. Just tired, I said. Didn't sleep well. She nodded, distracted, already moving to the closet. I watched her pull out a blue sundress, the same one from the photo on the burner phone. The one she'd worn in March, the first time at the hotel. She caught me looking. Too much for lunch? It's nice, I said. You look good in that one. She smiled, pleased, and disappeared into the bathroom to change. When she came out, she'd done her makeup, styled her hair. She looked beautiful. She'd always been beautiful. I should get going, she said, checking her phone. Don't want to be late. I followed her downstairs, watched her grab her purse and keys. She kissed me at the door, the same casual goodbye we'd exchanged 1,000 times. Love you, she said. Love you too. The garage door closed. I counted to 10, then pulled out my phone. The blue dot was moving again, south on Oak Street. I watched it turn onto Riverside, heading toward downtown, toward the Riverside Inn. My phone buzzed. Jake. I've got her. Black sedan, 2 cars back. He just pulled into the hotel parking lot. I sat down on the couch, phone in my hand. The blue dot continued its path, steady and sure. At 11:53, it stopped moving. She's here, Jake texted. Parking now. Then, walking toward the entrance. He's waiting for her by the door. Then, got the shot. They're going inside. I stared at my phone. The blue dot sat motionless on the screen, a fixed point at the Riverside Inn. Room 247, probably, their usual spot. Another text. Confirmed. They went upstairs together. You want me to wait? My fingers felt numb as I typed, yes. Get photos when they leave. Will do. Hang in there. I set the phone down on the coffee table and looked around the living room. Emma's coloring books were stacked on the shelf. Tyler's toy trucks lined up by the fireplace. The family photo from last Christmas hung above the mantel, all four of us smiling. Everything looked normal. My phone buzzed again an hour later, then again. I didn't look at it. I knew what the messages would say. I knew what the photos would show. At 2:17, the blue dot started moving again. I watched it travel back across town, stopping briefly. Probably a coffee shop or store, something to complete the alibi. Then it continued home. The garage door opened at 2:45. Ashley came in carrying a shopping bag from that boutique she liked downtown. "Hey," she called out. "How was your day?" I was in my office, door open, laptop displaying spreadsheets that I hadn't actually looked at in hours. "Fine," I said. "How was lunch?" "Great. Rebecca says hi." She held up the bag. "I found those candles I was looking for." "Nice." She disappeared upstairs. I heard the shower run again. Washing him off, probably. Erasing the evidence. My phone sat face down on my desk. I hadn't looked at Jake's messages yet. Hadn't seen the photos. I would look eventually. I would add them to the file, to the growing mountain of evidence that would dismantle our marriage in a courtroom. But not yet. Not while I could still hear her humming in the shower upstairs, still pretend that everything was fine. The photographs sat in my inbox like live grenades. Jake had sent them through the encrypted app we'd been using. 12 high-resolution images documenting Ashley and Derek's arrival at the Riverside Inn, separately but within minutes of each other. The careful choreography of their deception, captured frame by frame. I didn't open them right away. Just knowing they existed was enough for now. Ashley was humming in the kitchen, something light and tuneless as she prepared dinner. Through the doorway, I could see her moving around the island, completely at ease. She'd changed into yoga pants and one of my old college t-shirts, her hair still damp from her second shower of the day. "Babe, can you grab the salad stuff from the fridge?" she called. I stood, my legs steadier than they'd been in weeks. Something had shifted during those hours of watching the GPS dot, seeing the real-time proof of what I already knew. The shock had burned away, leaving something colder behind. "Sure." The refrigerator was covered with Emma's artwork. A rainbow, a lopsided house, stick figures labeled Mommy, Daddy, me, and Tyler. I pulled out lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers. Normal Wednesday evening activities in a normal suburban home. "How was your lunch?" I asked, setting the vegetables on the counter. Ashley didn't miss a beat. "Good." Rachel's still deciding between the beach house and the mountain cabin for their anniversary trip. I told her mountain. Better for the kids. She glanced at me, smiled. "You look tired. Long day?" "The usual." She reached over and squeezed my hand. Her fingers were cool, soft. I wondered if she'd touched him with those same hands just hours ago. If she'd kissed him goodbye in the hotel parking lot before driving home to make dinner for her family. "Why don't you go relax?" she said. "I've got this covered." I nodded and headed for the back deck, the phone heavy in my pocket. Outside, the evening air was thick with humidity. The landscaping crew had been by yesterday. Everything looked pristine, edges sharp, mulch fresh. Tyler's plastic dump truck sat abandoned by the swing set, and Emma's bike leaned against the garage, training wheels still attached even though she'd been asking me to take them off. I pulled out my phone and opened the encrypted app. The first photograph showed Derek's silver Audi pulling into the Riverside Inn parking lot at 12:17 p.m. The second showed him walking toward the entrance, dressed in slacks and a button-down, looking like any other business traveler. The third captured Ashley's SUV arriving at 12:24 p.m., parking 3 rows away from his car. Then Ashley herself, walking across the parking lot in a blue sundress I'd never seen before. She'd been wearing workout clothes when she left the house this morning. The images continued. Ashley entering the hotel lobby, Derek waiting near the elevator bank, the two of them stepping into the elevator together. Jake must have followed them inside. The final photograph showed them in the hallway outside room 247. Derek's hand on Ashley's lower back as he unlocked the door. My phone buzzed with a new message from Jake. They were inside for 87 minutes. Left separately. Him first at 1:52, her at 1:59. She drove to Target, bought children's vitamins and laundry detergent. Arrived home at 2:43. I checked the timeline against my own records. Ashley had texted me at 1:15 p.m. Having such a nice time. Rachel says hi. A message sent from a hotel room while she was in bed with another man. The sliding door opened behind me. Ashley stepped out, carrying 2 beers. "Thought you might want one," she said, handing me a bottle. "Dinner will be ready in 20. She settled into the chair next to mine, tucking her feet underneath her. We sat in silence for a moment, listening to the neighborhood sounds, someone mowing the lawn, kids playing basketball down the street, a dog barking. "I was thinking," Ashley said, "maybe we could plan a family trip for Labor Day weekend. Emma's been asking about the beach." I took a drink of beer, let the cold liquid settle in my stomach. "That's 2 months away." "I know, but the good places book up fast." She turned to look at me, her expression open and earnest. "We haven't done a real vacation in forever, Justin. You've been working so hard, and I just think it would be good for all of us. Quality time together." The audacity of it struck me silent. She was planning family vacations while maintaining a 5-month affair, talking about quality time between hotel visits with her lover. "Sure," I said. "Look into it." She beamed. "Great. I'll start researching tonight." My phone buzzed again. I glanced at the screen, another message from Jake, but Ashley was too close. I slipped it back into my pocket. "Work?" she asked. "Always." She reached over and touched my knee. "You need to set better boundaries. They take advantage of you." I looked at her hand on my leg, at the wedding ring still on her finger. The same ring I'd placed there 9 years ago, promising forever. The same ring she wore while texting Derek, while meeting him in hotel rooms, while lying to my face day after day. "You're probably right," I said. Ashley's phone chimed from inside. She stood, stretched. "That's the timer for the chicken. Come in when you're ready." I waited until she'd gone back inside before checking Jake's message. "Got something interesting." Derek's ex-wife agreed to talk. "Can you meet tomorrow? She has information you need to hear." I typed back, "Where and when?" "Coffee place on Maple Street, 10 a.m. I'll be there too." I confirmed and deleted the conversation, then sat staring at the yard. Emma's bike with its training wheels. Tyler's abandoned dump truck. The perfect grass. The perfect mulch. The perfect exterior of our perfect life. Inside, Ashley was setting the table. I could see her through the window, moving between the kitchen and dining room, placing napkins and silverware with practiced efficiency. She'd probably done the same thing in hundreds of homes over the years, created the illusion of domestic contentment while hiding something rotten underneath. My phone showed 6:47 p.m. In 13 hours, I'd be sitting across from Derek Walsh's ex-wife, learning whatever she thought I needed to know. The evidence file was growing thicker by the day. Messages, photographs, GPS logs, financial records, video footage from the hidden cameras. Jake had been clear from the beginning. Documentation was everything. Virginia was a no-fault state, but I could pursue fault-based grounds if I wanted to. Adultery was one of them. With enough evidence, I could make sure Ashley walked away with as little as possible. The sliding door opened again. Emma came running out, her face lit up. "Daddy, Mommy says dinner's ready and we're having your favorite." I scooped her up, felt her small arms wrap around my neck. She smelled like strawberry shampoo and playground dirt. Is that right? Uh-huh. And she made brownies for dessert. Sounds perfect, sweetheart. I carried her inside, where Tyler was already at the table, swinging his legs and chattering about something that happened at daycare. Ashley brought out the chicken, roasted vegetables, mashed potatoes. Everything arranged beautifully like a magazine spread. She caught my eye and smiled. Dig in, everyone. We ate dinner like a normal family. Ashley asked the kids about their day, helped Tyler cut his chicken, reminded Emma to eat her vegetables. She asked me about a project at work, nodded sympathetically when I mentioned the deadline pressure. The performance was flawless. If I hadn't known better, I would have believed it completely. After dinner, Ashley started clearing plates while I helped the kids with their hands at the bathroom sink. When I came back down, she was loading the dishwasher, her movements efficient and familiar. I'll finish up here, she said. Why don't you get the kids ready for bed? I nodded and headed upstairs, where Emma and Tyler were already arguing over which bedtime story to read. I settled them both, read 3 books instead of the usual 2, kissed their foreheads, and turned out the light. Downstairs, Ashley had finished in the kitchen and was curled up on the couch with her laptop, presumably researching beach rentals for our family vacation. The vacation we'd never take. I'm going to do some work in the office, I said. She glanced up. Okay, don't stay up too late. I won't. In my office, I closed the door and opened the evidence file on my encrypted drive. Added Jake's photographs from today to the folder labeled Hotel Meetings. Cross-referenced the timestamps with Ashley's text messages and GPS data. Updated the spreadsheet tracking her movements. Everything aligned perfectly. Every lie documented, every deception recorded, every moment of betrayal preserved in digital amber. My phone showed a new email, Jake confirming tomorrow's meeting and including a name. Melissa Walsh, Derek's ex-wife, married to him for 6 years before their divorce 2 years ago. I wondered what she'd tell me. What details she knew that might fill in the gaps. Whether her story would mirror mine, the slow discovery, the mounting evidence, the surreal experience of living with someone who'd become a stranger. Tomorrow at 10, I'd find out. The coffee shop Melissa Walsh chose was one of those aggressively cheerful places with chalkboard menus and reclaimed wood everywhere. I arrived 15 minutes early, ordered something I didn't want, and claimed a corner table where I could watch the door. She walked in at exactly 2 o'clock. Jake had shown me photos, but seeing her in person was different. Mid-40s, blonde hair cut in a practical bob, wearing scrubs with cartoon characters on them. Pediatric nurse, Jake had said. She looked tired in a way that went deeper than a long shift. I stood as she approached. Melissa? Justin. She shook my hand, her grip firm and brief. Let me grab something. I'll be right back. I watched her order tea, exchange pleasantries with the barista, add honey from the counter. Normal movements, everyday routine. 3 years ago, she'd been where I was now. Sitting across from a stranger, about to discuss the implosion of her marriage. She settled into the chair across from me and wrapped both hands around her cup. So, Derek's at it again. No preamble. I appreciated that. Apparently. I pulled out my phone, showed her one of Jake's surveillance photos. Derek and Ashley entering the hotel, his hand on the small of her back. Melissa studied it without expression. Riverside Inn. He took me there once, early on, before we were married. Thought he was being romantic. She sipped her tea. Room 247? How did you know? Same room every time. He thinks it's lucky. Her laugh was bitter. The woman he cheated on me with? Same hotel. Different rooms, but same place. The investigator I hired got photos of them in the parking lot. Derek has patterns. I felt something cold settle in my chest. You hired an investigator. Best money I ever spent. She pulled out her own phone, scrolled through something. I kept copies of everything. The lawyer said I didn't need to anymore, but she turned the screen toward me. This was the woman, Stephanie. She worked in hospital administration. We'd met her at a fundraiser, actually. I thought she was nice. The photo showed a brunette in business casual, laughing at something off camera. Nothing remarkable. Just someone's wife, someone's friend. Someone who'd helped destroy a marriage. How long did it take you to figure it out? I asked. 6 months of suspecting, 3 months of knowing for sure but gathering evidence. Melissa set her phone down. He was careful. Not careful enough, but he tried. Late meetings that didn't exist. Conferences that weren't on his company calendar. He started going to the gym suddenly, bought new cologne. Classic signs, but I kept telling myself I was paranoid. What finally convinced you? Hotel charges on a credit card I didn't know he had. He'd opened it in just his name, but he slipped up 1 month, used our joint account to pay it off. When I saw Riverside Inn listed 3 times in 1 month, I knew. She met my eyes. Your wife? Ashley? How'd you find out? Burner phone hidden in her yoga mat carrier. Smart. Derek used a burner too. Stephanie's husband found it in his gym bag. She paused. They're still married, by the way. Stephanie and her husband. He took her back. Derek was furious when she ended it. That caught my attention. He was angry that she ended it? Oh, he was livid. Called her all kinds of names. Said she'd let him on. Made him think they had a future. Melissa's expression hardened. That's when I knew I was done. Not when I found out about the affair, when I saw how he reacted to losing his mistress. He wasn't sorry. He was just mad he got caught and that she wouldn't leave her husband for him. Did he want you to leave? Or did he want both? Both. He wanted the stability of marriage, the respectability, someone to split bills and make his house look like a home. But he also wanted the excitement, the validation of conquest. He's a narcissist, clinically. My therapist confirmed it after she heard everything. I thought about the messages on Ashley's phone. The way Derek called her beautiful, special, different from everyone else. He told her she was different, that he'd never felt this way before. He says that to all of them. Melissa pulled out a folder I hadn't noticed her carrying. I brought you something. Copies of what my investigator found. Timeline of his affair with Stephanie, patterns of behavior, his typical MO. There's also documentation from the divorce. He tried to claim I was the one who cheated. His lawyer actually argued that in court. Didn't work, obviously, but he tried. I took the folder, felt its weight. Why are you helping me? Because someone helped me. Stephanie's husband, actually. After everything fell apart, he reached out. Told me what Derek had said about me, about our marriage. Warned me that Derek would lie, would try to flip the narrative. He was right. She finished her tea. And because I have a daughter. She was 9 when we divorced. She's 12 now, and she still doesn't understand why Daddy doesn't live with us anymore. I can't tell her the truth, not yet. But I can make sure another man doesn't get blindsided the way I was. Does Derek know we're meeting? God, no. He'd lose his mind. He still thinks he's the victim in our divorce. She stood, shouldered her purse. One more thing. When you confront your wife, and you will eventually, record it. Every word. Because she'll lie. And then she'll say you're lying about her lying. Derek tried to claim I'd given him permission to see other people. Said we had an understanding. Complete fiction, but his lawyer put it in the paperwork. Virginia's a one-party consent state for recording. Then use that. Document everything. And Justin? She paused at the edge of the table. Whatever you think you know about your marriage. It's worse. It's always worse. I thought Derek had one affair. Turns out Stephanie was number 3 that I know of. The other 2 were before we got married, but he was engaged to me during one of them. She left before I could respond. I sat there for a long time, the folder in front of me, my coffee gone cold. Around me, people typed on laptops, met with friends, lived their normal Saturday afternoons. A couple at the next table was arguing quietly about whose turn it was to pick up their kid from soccer. Mundane problems? Regular life? My phone buzzed. Jake. Update. Ashley's car at Riverside Inn. Arrived 2:47 p.m. Derek's car already in lot. I checked the time. 3:15. She'd told me she was meeting her book club at 2:30. I'd even asked which book they were reading this month. Some thriller about a woman who disappears. Ashley had laughed, said she hadn't finished it yet, but it was really twisty. The irony wasn't lost on me. I opened the folder Melissa had given me. Inside were printouts, organized with colored tabs. Timeline, financial records, text message transcripts, photos of Derek and Stephanie at various locations, restaurants, parking lots, one particularly damning shot of them kissing against a car. One document caught my eye. A psychological evaluation done during the divorce proceedings. Derek had been required to attend counseling as part of the custody arrangement. The therapist's notes were clinical but damning. Subject demonstrates classic narcissistic personality patterns. Limited capacity for empathy. Views relationships as transactional. Unlikely to change behavior without significant intervention, which subject has declined. My phone buzzed again. Another photo from Jake. Ashley and Derek in the parking lot, her hand on his chest, both of them laughing. I forwarded it to my lawyer, added it to the growing folder on my laptop. Then I opened the cloned data from Ashley's burner phone, scrolled back further than I had before. The messages with Derek started in March, but there were deleted conversations from earlier. Jake had recovered some of them. January. A different contact, saved as M. The messages were brief, mostly logistics. Meeting times, locations. Nothing explicit, but the pattern was clear. Before Derek, there had been someone else. I sat back, felt the coffee shop spin slightly around me. How long had this been going on? How many men? How many lies? My phone rang. Ashley. Hey, babe, she said, bright and casual. Book club's running long. I might not be home until 6. Can you handle dinner? In the background, I heard nothing. No voices, no conversation. Just silence. Sure, I said. No problem. You're the best. Love you. She hung up before I could respond. I looked at Jake's photo again. Timestamp 3:47 p.m. She'd called me from the hotel parking lot, standing next to Derek's car, and lied without hesitation. The folder Melissa had given me included one final document. A handwritten note on the last page. Trust your instincts. Document everything. And remember, you're not crazy. They want you to think you are, but you're not. I gathered my things, left the coffee shop, drove home through streets that looked exactly the same as they had that morning. Nothing had changed. Everything had changed. Emma's bike was on the front lawn where she'd left it. Tyler's action figures lined the porch railing. Inside, the house smelled like the cinnamon candles Ashley loved. I went to my office, opened my laptop, and started organizing everything. Photos, messages, financial records, GPS data, witness statements. I created a timeline, cross-referenced dates, highlighted patterns. By the time Ashley came home at 6:15, I had a document that told the complete story of her betrayal. Every lie, every meeting, every moment she'd chosen someone else over our family. I heard her car in the driveway, her keys in the door. I'm home, she called. Sorry I'm late. We got so into discussing the book I lost track of time. I saved the document, closed my laptop, and went downstairs. She was in the kitchen, pulling leftovers from the fridge, still wearing the same outfit from the hotel parking lot. How was book club? I asked. Good. Really good discussion? She smiled at me, easy and warm. How was your day? Productive, I said. Very productive. The end. I filed for divorce on a Thursday morning in late August, exactly 6 weeks after finding the burner phone. My attorney, Patricia Nguyen, had reviewed every document in my evidence file and called it comprehensive enough to teach a masterclass. Ashley was served at home while I was at work. I'd taken Emma and Tyler to my brother's place the night before, told them we were having a special cousin sleepover. They'd been excited. They didn't know their world was about to fracture. Patricia called me at 2:15. She's requesting an emergency meeting. Her attorney wants to talk settlement. Already? She saw the evidence attachments, all 63 pages. The meeting happened 3 days later in a conference room that smelled like furniture polish and desperation. Ashley sat across from me, her attorney beside her, a sharp-looking woman named Karen Blackwell, who kept her expression carefully neutral. Ashley looked smaller somehow. She'd been crying. I could tell from the redness around her eyes. She wouldn't look at me directly. My client is willing to negotiate terms, Karen began. Patricia slid a folder across the table. These are our terms. Mrs. Brennan can review them. I watched Ashley open the folder, saw her face go pale as she read. Primary custody of Emma and Tyler to me, with supervised visitation for her until a psychological evaluation could be completed. The house, the cars, the savings accounts, everything divided with surgical precision, weighted heavily in my favor due to the adultery clause Virginia still recognized. This is... Ashley's voice cracked. Justin, please. Can we talk? Just us? No, Patricia said before I could respond. All communication goes through counsel. I made a mistake, Ashley said, looking at me now. Tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry, I never meant... You never meant to get caught, I said quietly. It was the first time I'd spoken directly to her since filing. There's a difference. Karen put her hand on Ashley's arm, a gesture meant to silence her. We'd like to request a continuance to review these terms. Denied, Patricia said. My client has been more than patient. Mrs. Brennan had months to consider the consequences of her actions. The meeting lasted 40 minutes. Ashley signed the preliminary agreements with shaking hands. I signed with steady ones. In the parking lot afterward, Patricia turned to me. She'll try to contact you directly. They always do. Don't respond. Don't engage. Let me handle everything. What about the kids? The custody evaluator will meet with them next week. Be honest with them. Age appropriately. Don't badmouth their mother, but don't lie about why things are changing. That conversation with Emma and Tyler was the hardest thing I'd ever done. Emma cried and asked if it was her fault. Tyler didn't understand why Mommy couldn't live with us anymore. I held them both, promised them they were loved, that none of this was their fault. I didn't tell them about Derek, didn't tell them about the hotels or the lies, just that sometimes grown-ups make choices that hurt the people they love, and there are consequences. The divorce was finalized 4 months later. Ashley fought some of the terms, but the evidence was overwhelming. Jake's documentation, the surveillance photos, the GPS data, the messages, all of it painted a picture that no amount of legal maneuvering could obscure. Derek disappeared from her life before the ink dried on the filing. Melissa had been right about his patterns. He wanted the excitement, not the consequences. When Ashley became a liability instead of a secret, he vanished. Ashley moved into an apartment across town. She got the kids every other weekend, Wednesday evenings for dinner. The custody evaluator had been concerned about her judgment, but found no evidence she was a danger to them. Just someone who'd made selfish choices and destroyed her family in the process. I kept the house, kept most of the savings. The judge had been a woman in her 60s who'd read every page of evidence and made her opinion clear. Adultery had consequences, especially when children were involved. Emma adjusted better than Tyler. She was old enough to understand that sometimes families change shape. Tyler still asked when Mommy was coming home, still didn't quite grasp that this was permanent. I started therapy, not because I was falling apart, but because I wanted to make sure I didn't carry this poison forward. Dr. Sarah Clark, no relation to anyone, just a coincidence, helped me understand that Ashley's choices weren't a reflection of my worth. That betrayal says everything about the betrayer and nothing about the betrayed. Jake and I stayed in touch. He'd moved on to other cases, other families unraveling in slow motion. But he checked in sometimes, asked how the kids were doing. He'd seen enough of these situations to know the aftermath was often harder than the discovery. Melissa Walsh sent me a card when the divorce was finalized. Just 3 words. You survived it. She was right. I had survived. The man who'd found that burner phone in the laundry room had been destroyed, but someone else had emerged from the wreckage. Someone harder, maybe, more careful. But also someone who understood that love without honesty was just performance art. A year after the divorce, I was loading the washing machine, same machine where this had all started, when Emma came running in, upset about something at school. I stopped what I was doing, sat down with her, listened to her talk about a friend who'd lied to her about something small and stupid. "Why do people lie, Daddy?" she asked. I thought about all the easy answers I could give, about how sometimes people are scared or confused or trying to protect themselves. All true in their way. But I gave her the truth instead. Because they want something more than they want to be honest. And when that happens, everyone gets hurt. She thought about that, nodded slowly. I don't want to be like that. Then don't be, I said. It's a choice, every single time. She hugged me and ran off to play. I went back to the laundry, pulling clothes from the dryer, folding them with the careful attention I'd learned to give everything now. No more assumptions. No more blind trust. The lesson wasn't about Ashley or Derek or even about marriage. It was simpler and harder than that. People show you who they are through their actions, not their words. And when someone shows you they're willing to lie, to deceive, to prioritize their wants over your family's well-being, believe them. I'd built a life on trust and found it was built on sand. So I built a new one, this time on something more solid. Truth, documentation, and the understanding that love means nothing without integrity. The washing machine beeped. I transferred the clothes to the dryer, started a new load. Normal Thursday afternoon in a normal suburban home. Just me and my kids now. And that was enough.